On this other old looking book, here we go. It is the state, where is that? There, Philippine Progress Prior. So it's actually two books. The State of the Philippines in 1810 and the Philippine Progress prior to 1898. So what I found interesting in this book is these tables. So here, for example, is the population of the Philippines in 1810. So they put it in, they put Indians, Indios, okay, and mestizos. So you can see that the population of the local population was much bigger than the mestizo population. So it seemed most of the mestizos were in Tondo at the time. 35, I don't know what the divisible by 2 means, but 35K. There were also a lot. So the total population for the Philippines in 1810 was 2.4 million for the locals, and the mestizos were just 120K. But also, so check here, the comparison from 20 years before was, there was, am I reading this right? Number of Indians, okay. Okay, got it. So there was 1.6 million, 1.65 million just 20 years before. So 865K people were added. So they were saying here, oh, look, there was a 52% increase in 18 years. And so that means every 34 years, the population of the Philippines will double. That's incredible. Well, if only they could see what's happening nowadays. Okay, so what were the industries in the Philippines in 1810? Well, I don't know if this is a good measure of it, but here's a table about which shows the different, I guess, taxes, because it says it's constituting the king's revenue in the Philippine Islands. So, highest would be tobacco. So, cigarettes. What? I don't think they were called cigarettes back then. Cigars, I don't know. Okay, next would be tributes. So, I don't know. I don't know what that means. Is that like tax, local government tax? I don't know. Okay, wine. Okay, making of custom houses. Okay, betel nut. Wow. Okay, considering we don't really see betel nut anymore, that is a lot of betel nut. Taxes on betel nut. Okay, cockpits. All right. Exchequered goods. I don't know what that is. The Board of Admiralty. Capitation tax on Sanglis. Sanglis, I think, means Chinese, so it's extra tax on Chinese. The Bulls of Cruzada. Indulgences. Okay. Oh, it's less. Okay. Playing cards. That's a whole industry. Maybe that probably means gambling, I guess. Okay. Gunpowder, tithes. Okay. A king's fifth on gold. I wonder what that means. Something I'll have to Google later on. Okay, anything else? Commandancy of St. Ferdinand's Castle. Clericals, okay. Anything else? Post office and stamps. So it really seems the biggest industry at the time was tobacco. So here we have some the sales, expenses, and proceeds of the tobacco monopoly. There's a whole table just on tobacco. Here's a table on what seems to be precious metals. So exportation of silver, exportation of gold. So it seems we were doing a lot of exporting a lot of silver. Not much on gold though. I guess if all the gold was still in the Cordillera, then yep, the Spanish government would not really have access to that. What was the Spanish military like in the Philippines during 1810? So here are some expenses. Okay, so regulars. So that's the regular army. We have the sheriff. Staff of the town of Manila. I guess that's like the army staff. The King's Regiment of Infantry, pretty big. So these are their salaries, I'm guessing, because that's the expenses. The Battalion of the Queen, the Battalion of the Prince. So that IDEM, I think, means just copy the thing on top. Dragoons of Luzon, the Royal Corps of Artillery, the Royal Corps of Engineers. What's invalids mean? Okay. So then you have the militias, you have the Grenadiers of Luzon, the Battalion of Grenadiers of Ilocos, Battalion of Grenadiers Mestizos of Real Principe, bowmen. Oh, okay. So there were still bowmen at this time. The piquet, I don't know what that is, a piquet. Hussars. Hussars are horsemen, I think. Okay. And then we have military bases, docks and stores of the Royal Navy in Cavite. Okay, so apparently that's where the Navy was housed. Island cruisers, okay, and then a bunch of fortresses: Zamboanga, Misamis, Caraga, Calamianes, Mindoro, Batanes, Nueva Ecija, Fort Santiago, Cavite. So the Royal Hospital and the Royal Laboratory of Artillery, Royal Laboratory of Engineers. So one of the things you imagine when you think of the Spanish conquest of the Philippines is like half-naked Filipinos with giant wooden shields fighting the Spaniards on a beach, and the Spaniard is in full conquistador armor. And I don't think that's very accurate based on reading this. This is about what the Spanish discovered when they arrived here. So here, just look at here. So early Filipinos did not only know how to work mines, but they knew the art of metalworking. And they made all sorts of jewelry, but also weapons. They made firearms. And when look here, one of the chief industries of the Philippine Islands before the Spanish came was actually the manufacture of gunpowder. Here are some actual accounts. The people are the most valiant yet found in this region. They possess much good armor, iron corselets, greaves, wristlets, gauntlets, and helmets, and arquebuses and culverins. Arquebuses being firearms and culverins being cannons. So that half-naked warrior, I guess, not very accurate. They fought in metal armors. So here, just look, describing the kind of weapon they would have. Well, a dagger, 4 fingers in breadth, blade of ivory and gold. They would be called bararaos. Sadly, though, it seems a lot of the weapon technology was lost when the Spanish came. So it appears Filipino weapons were actually better before the Spanish arrived than after. I don't know if the Spanish suppressed any of the metallurgy and weapon workings. I don't know. Okay, so here, since they have seen the Spaniards use their weapons, many of the natives handled the arquebuses and muskets quite skillfully. Before the arrival of Spanish, they had bronze culverins, bronze cannons, and other pieces of cast iron which they defended their forts and settlements, although their powder is not as refined as that of the Spaniards. So here, perhaps what indicates more clearly than anything else the advance the Filipinos were making through their communication with outside people is their use of firearms. Of this point, there is no question. Everywhere in the vicinity of Manila, on Lubang, in Pampanga, Cainta, Laguna de Bay, the Spaniards encountered forts mounting small cannon or lantakas. The Filipinos seem to have understood, moreover, the arts of casting cannon and of making powder. The first gun factory established by the Spaniards was in charge of a Filipino from Pampanga. When the Spanish arrived, agriculture was already very well developed and prosperous in the Philippines. And I'm looking now at what stuff are truly indigenous, what plants and crops are truly indigenous, and what were introduced. So, indigenous would be, sugarcane, coconuts, indigo, I wonder what that is. Sweet potatoes, tubers, bananas, betel nut, tamarind, lanzones. Oh, I always thought lanzones was introduced. Okay, and legumes, okay. Hemp plant, so I don't know if that's also abaca or... Anyways, okay. So, we also had Okay, I wonder what these fruits are. Sanctors, mabolos, okay, tamarinds, okay, nancas, custard apples, papaws, is this papaya, I wonder? Guavas, oranges of all kinds, calamansi, I'm sure, large and small, sweet and sour, citrons, lemons, and 10 or 12 varieties of bananas. Okay, so what are stuff the Spaniards introduced? Let's see. Okay, so tobacco. Tobacco is not indigenous. Okay. Chocolate, cacao, also not indigenous. Okay, so this one's a little surprised me. So maize, corn, right? Peanut apparently is not indigenous. Papaya, so it's not the same as, what was the other one? Paya, or what was it? Anyways, papaws, okay, so it's not papaya. Pineapples and kamote, apparently not indigenous. And last would be coffee. Coffee was introduced by the Spaniards here. All right, looking at animals now. So, when the Spanish arrived, we already had dogs, cats, pigs, goats, and buffaloes, i.e. carabaos. So, we had already domesticated these. But here's what's interesting. There were no horses or mares or donkeys in the islands until the Spaniards had brought them from China or from Nueva España. So that's something I've always wondered if horses are really indigenous or not, because I read some sources that said that the Moros had them. Well, I guess this does not include the Moros anyways, because, the Moros were never conquered by Spain. So which really begs the question, where did we get the idea of the tikbalang if the Spanish were the ones who brought them in? So is the tikbalang really not an indigenous folklore creature? I don't know. For more videos on pre-colonial and indigenous Philippine culture, folklore, and mythology, subscribe to my YouTube channel and look for me on TikTok.